A girl fakes her lifestyle to keep up with her best friend's social media fame, until jealousy turns criminal. Lila West, 24, with warm caramel skin, long dark hair always styled to perfection, and a wardrobe bursting with high-end knockoffs, had mastered the art of deception. Every post was meticulously crafted, champagne glasses in hand, luxury cars in the background, and exotic destinations. Though in reality, the vacations were staged in nearby boutique hotels. She wasn't trying to fool strangers, she was trying to keep up with her best friend, Maren Cole, 25, a natural beauty with glowing honey-toned skin, beachy blonde waves, and a thriving influencer career that seemed unstoppable. Lila told herself it was harmless, just a way to stay relevant in their friendship. But late at night as she scrolled through Maren's feed, a bitter seed of envy began to take root. Maren's latest post broke Lila's carefully balanced facade. An exclusive brand partnership, an invitation-only fashion event, a new designer bag worth more than Lila's rent. The likes and comments poured in, each one praising Maren's beauty, style, and authenticity. Lila's stomach twisted. She stared at her own recent post, a rented dress, staged lighting, and a borrowed watch, and felt a deep gnawing inadequacy. That night she lay in bed, refreshing Maren's page every few minutes, her mind racing. She could no longer just mimic Maren's lifestyle. She needed to surpass it, and if she couldn't do it honestly, she would find another way. The plan formed slowly, fueled by sleepless nights and restless scrolling. Lila started gathering details, Maren's brand contracts, her unreleased collaborations, and her schedule. She knew when Maren's apartment was empty, when she traveled, and who she met with. But she didn't just want to copy Maren anymore. She wanted to own her spotlight. She opened fake accounts, subtly spreading rumors about Maren's dishonesty online, seeding doubts into her fanbase. The lies were small at first, claims of using filters, renting clothes, staging charity work. But they spread like wildfire, and Lila, behind her flawless smile, was the one fanning the flames. When Maren invited Lila to an exclusive industry party, Lila's pulse quickened. This was her chance. She arrived in a shimmering emerald gown, rented of course, but worn with the confidence of someone who belonged. Cameras flashed, influencers mingled, and Maren introduced Lila to contacts that could change everything. But as the night wore on, Lila's focus wasn't on networking, it was on gathering ammunition. A few discreet photos here, a stolen email address there, and a whispered conversation caught on her phone's recorder. By the time she left, Lila wasn't just a guest, she was a thief with a plan. The next week, Maren's brand collaboration fell apart. An anonymous tip had reached the company, accusing her of fraud. The brand pulled out publicly, citing integrity concerns. Maren was blindsided, posting tearful apologies to her followers, insisting it was all a misunderstanding. Lila watched in silence, her heart pounding, not with guilt but with a twisted thrill. Maren's fall meant space for Lila to rise, and she was ready to step into the light. With Maren distracted, Lila began posting more aggressively. She secured small brand deals, flaunted her lavish lifestyle, and capitalized on Maren's absence from events. Her follower count grew, and so did her confidence. But behind the glamour, Lila's finances were crumbling under the weight of her charade. Every new post came with mounting debt, yet she couldn't stop. She had tasted attention, and it was intoxicating. The only problem, Maren was starting to suspect her. Maren invited Lila for coffee, her tone warm but eyes guarded. She asked pointed questions, about the timing of her brand fallout, about the suspicious accounts spreading rumors, about Lila's sudden rise. Lila smiled sweetly, feigning ignorance, but her pulse hammered in her ears. She left the cafe certain of two things. Maren didn't have proof yet, but she was looking for it. And if Lila didn't act fast, everything she'd built could come crashing down. Desperation sharpened Lila's cruelty. She remembered the recorded conversation from the party, a drunken confession from Maren about a minor tax oversight. Out of context, it sounded damning. Lila sent Maren an anonymous email with the clip, threatening to leak it unless she took a break from social media. Hours later, Maren posted a vague message about needing time away for mental health. And just like that, Lila had cleared her biggest obstacle. Lila's victory was short-lived. Friends began asking questions. Old acquaintances hinted that her sudden success seemed too fast. And when a journalist reached out for a profile, Lila panicked. Her life couldn't withstand real scrutiny. She started avoiding calls, canceling appearances, and deleting old posts that didn't align with her fabricated timeline. The pressure was suffocating, but she kept smiling for the camera. Weeks later, Maren reappeared online, confident, polished, and unbothered. She didn't address the rumors directly but posted proof of her innocence, contracts cleared, and brands reaffirming their partnerships. Her follower count surged, fueled by sympathy and admiration for her resilience. Lila's stomach sank. She had worked so hard to erase Marin, yet here she was, stronger than ever. Marin's quiet comeback ignited something dangerous in Lila. She doubled down, leaking more supposed insider information. But her desperation made her sloppy. One of the fake accounts was traced back to her phone. Marin didn't confront her this time. Instead, she contacted the authorities. The police came early on a rainy morning, waking Lila from a restless sleep. Her phone, laptop, and hard drives were seized. They asked questions she wasn't prepared to answer, about false statements, defamation, and harassment. For the first time, Lila felt real fear. The story broke quickly. Headlines labeled her a fraud, a stalker, a jealous saboteur. Her carefully curated followers vanished overnight. Brands canceled deals, friends cut ties, and even strangers sent her messages dripping with disgust. Lila tried to defend herself, but no one believed her anymore. The legal process dragged on for months. Marin never gloated publicly, but her quiet presence in the courtroom spoke volumes. Lila's lies were laid bare. Every fake post, every fabricated deal, every cruel rumor. She was found guilty of defamation and harassment, ordered to pay damages she couldn't afford. By the time sentencing was over, Lila had lost everything. She moved into a small, dim apartment, avoiding neighbors and living off instant noodles. Her phone sat silent, her accounts deleted. The silence was deafening, but it was better than the constant stream of hate. The small apartment was nothing like the high-rise she had once pretended to live in. Its walls were bare, the carpet worn, and the single window faced an alley that smelled faintly of damp and oil. Every morning, Lila West, now without the flawless makeup, without the shimmering dresses, without the carefully curated smiles, sat on the edge of her bed and stared at her reflection in a cracked mirror. She barely recognized herself. Her long dark hair hung limp, her warm caramel skin had lost its glow, and her eyes carried the shadow of sleepless nights. She thought back to the first moment she had decided to fake her life, a harmless picture here, a borrowed item there. It had felt so small, so innocent at the time, but each lie had stacked on the last, until she was trapped inside an image that wasn't hers. She thought of Marin, not the rival she had made her into, but the friend she once trusted with secrets, laughter, and dreams. Now all that remained between them was silence. Lila wondered if she had been chasing fame, or if she had simply been running from the fear of being ordinary. Either way, she had lost more than she could ever gain back. It came unexpectedly. In the middle of a cold, gray evening, Lila was sorting through the few emails that still reached her new, anonymous account, mostly bills, spam, and the occasional online shop ad, when she noticed one with the subject line, "I remember you differently." The message was from a small boutique owner, Clara Reynolds, a woman Lila had once met at a pop-up market during her fake influencer days. Back then, Lila had smiled for a photo with Clara's handmade scarves, promising to post about them. She never did, choosing instead to feature more luxurious brands to fit her image. Yet Clara's message was warm. She wrote that she didn't believe people were beyond change, and that she was starting a modest online campaign for her store. She asked if Lila might consider helping her manage the social media accounts. Lila read it twice, her chest tight. It wasn't a glamorous offer. There would be no brand trips, no parties, no champagne, just real work. For the first time in years, she felt the faint stirrings of something she thought she had lost, purpose. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard and typed a single word, yes. The job started small, just a few posts a week showcasing Clara's handmade scarves and jewelry. Lila sat at her second-hand desk, taking photos in natural light, writing captions that told real stories about the artisans behind each piece. It was strange at first to post without staging or pretending. She wore no makeup, dressed in plain clothes, and used her own name sparingly. One day, Clara encouraged her to post something personal on the boutique's page. Lila hesitated but decided to write about authenticity, about how easy it was to get lost in the illusion of social media. She didn't name herself or mention Marin, but she poured honesty into every word. The post received fewer likes than her old content ever did, but the comments were different. People thanked her for the reminder, for the honesty, for showing something that wasn't wrapped in filters. It was the first time in years she felt that her words mattered more than her image. And though the audience was small, it was real. Every new follower wasn't there for a fantasy. They were there for her work, her truth. That felt more valuable than any fake luxury handbag ever had. The weeks turned into months, and with them came a strange peace. Lila's days were simple. Morning coffee, work on the boutique's campaigns, occasional meetings with Clara, and quiet evenings spent reading or sketching in a small notebook. There were no paparazzi flashes, no frantic rush to find the perfect shot, no lies to maintain. She was anonymous again, and for the first time she appreciated it. Marin's face still appeared sometimes, on billboards, in ads, in the feeds of mutual acquaintances. Each sighting brought a twinge of something Lila couldn't quite name. It wasn't the sharp stab of envy anymore, but a softer ache, regret perhaps, for the friendship they had once shared before fame and jealousy had poisoned it. She never reached out. There was nothing she could say to undo the damage, no apology that could erase the past. Instead, she silently hoped Marin was doing well, that she had found the balance between public life and private happiness that Lila herself had once destroyed in pursuit of attention. And so, Lila remained in her quiet life, finding comfort in the thought that maybe, just maybe, peace was the truest luxury of all. Years later, Lila found herself standing in front of a small audience at a local community center. She had been invited to speak at a workshop about the realities of social media, the difference between curated perfection and the messy, imperfect truth. She wore a simple navy dress, her dark hair pulled into a neat braid, her warm caramel skin illuminated by the soft overhead lights. She told her story, not with excuses but with raw honesty. She spoke about how comparison had eaten away at her self-worth, how the pursuit of likes had turned her against her best friend, and how easy it was to justify just one more little lie. The room was silent as she described the moment it all collapsed. The knock at her door, the public shaming, and the years of rebuilding. When she finished, a young woman in the front row raised her hand and asked, "Was it worth it?" Lila shook her head. "The likes aren't worth your life," she said simply. Then she smiled gently and added, "If you want to hear more stories like mine, the real ones that the internet doesn't always show, subscribe. There's so much more you need to know."